All right, race fans, we are back after a week off. The boys couldn't hack it without me. I'm just gonna go ahead and point that out. I took a much needed trip with Dad up to Canada and was able to get back into the States. Two thumbs up on that. Some people are not able to. Not going to mention any names, but I was. But we went up there and did a little fishing. I haven't gone fishing with my dad in a long, long time. And actually, guys, brought Dave Dulskiak up there. Boy, he's been on the struggle bus in that one to go show 83. Rejuvenated himself a little bit up there though. 1,000 to win show over at um Sycamore this past weekend. He come back, rolled on down there. P2 got his best finish of the year. Been struggling. He's had a hard time finishing, but yeah, up on the podium in a big show there at Sycamore. So hopefully he can build on that the rest of the way through. But episode number 269, as always, Ryan Aho here. We got my former right-hand man, former track champion over at the Proctor Speedway, Changa, Jim McClellan. JR's like, he's just going to call you James from now on, is kind of what he said. But he
Sure.
goes by, he's a man of many names there. Some, depending on what kind of mood you're in, we won't get into those right now, though. Of course, we got Bert with us. We were not expecting this. Bert had a busy night at work, and I got kind of stuck in some construction, put myself behind. He's able to join us. So might not have studs and duds for us this week, but he will have some input as always on some other topics. So, Bert, welcome back. How'd you guys manage without me here the last week? You guys okay? Did you have to go to counseling? You're all right?
I think we're doing okay. What do you think, Changa?
I think my stress level's at an all-time low.
Well, look out, boys, because you're gonna be an all-time high. You're gonna get all of me you can handle over the next few days here. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's before we get started, quick shout out Impact Health Sharing. So if you pay for your own health insurance, whether you're an individual, you're a couple, you got a family, small business, employees, whatever it may be, if you're paying for health insurance on a regular basis and you're like, I'm just paying too much, got to go to specific doctors, I might have a great solution for you. It's called Impact Health Sharing, and it's been all over the country. It's been a great product, saving people thousands of dollars. You can go to any provider. It's been fantastic. Reach out to me, 218-969-1380. I can get you some information, a quick quote to see if maybe we can help you out, help you save some money so you can go do cool stuff like going to the races or having race car stuff. That's a lot more fun than giving that money to your insurance person. So let's start with some random tidbits from this past week. So I think the big one on the national scene, holy shit, guys. I have never seen so many drivers get hurt as we've seen in the last week and a half, specifically in the open wheel ranks, whether it's USAC sprints, World of Outlaw High Limit, the 410 sprint cars. Last night, big block modifieds. I mean, the open wheel ranks has been absolute mayhem. I mean, it has been bonkers. I mean, who are some of the guys? I mean, there was a bunch who got hurt at Eldora, right? Tyler Courtney, I think, was one.
Yep, Brad
Reitzel,
Sweet.
Brad Sweet, yep. And then Ian Madsen, did you see that? I think it was at Knoxville or Houston. I think it was at Knoxville this last week. He ended up breaking his neck down there. Justin Grant broke his, what, he break his foot? Sounds like
Well,
he's racing tonight. We're doing the show. It is, what the hell day? It's Tuesday. Little Dreams on. So it's Tuesday. They actually put hand controls in his car so he can have a handbrake, and he's going to try to race tonight in Kokomo with a broken foot. And then the wreck last night, the big block mods with Stuart Friesen.
that's
Oof,
big.
that, I mean, racing is dangerous. We know it. And, that's a lot of injuries in a short period of time. That's a ton. That's what, 3, 4, 5, that's like 6 injuries in just a 2-week window there. Racing is super dangerous, but the safety equipment, thank God, has advanced so much since I've raced. I mean, it ain't even close. Guys, my first seat was a frickin', and there's people on here listening, they can relate. My first seat was a fiberglass seat, right? No sides on it. You're talking about full containment. There were no sides on it, no nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. Junk seat belts, it didn't matter, right? And I talked to my dad. My dad actually flew out of a race car one time. Seat broke. Driving Gary Taylor's car up in Hibbing, tumbled. I think my mom was pregnant, maybe with me or with my sister, but he tumbled. I mean, the safety equipment now compared to what it was years past, it's so far advanced. But the injuries over the past couple weeks, pretty crazy. Sounds like, what is it? Tyler Courtney's out. Who's filling in for Tyler Courtney? Is that
Sauce.
Gio?
Yep, Hot Sauce is driving the Courtney ride for the rest of the year.
And then who's filling in? Is it Justin Sanders filling in for Aaron Reitzel?
Yep.
Chonga's boy, Aaron Reitzel.
Yeah,
Chonga's boy there.
it's probably like 6-ish weeks, I think, on Reitzel.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, we're talking about some top tiers. I mean, we don't want to see anybody get hurt, right? But
Well,
that's some top tier stars. That's a big hit to the sprint car world right there.
I haven't heard on Sweet either. I mean, like
Sounds
that's
like he's good to go. Sounds like he's planning on racing the 360 Nationals this week down at Knoxville. So I think he's good to go. I'm pretty positive on that, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, hopefully everybody don't skimp, right? I mean, let's just face it, right? We've all been to the racetrack. Changa, how many times have you seen people, and it ain't probably quite as bad today as it was back when we were doing it, but people with torn race suits that you're pretty sure that you could light it with a match and the thing would engulf in flames because people kind of mistake them for coveralls instead of race suits, right? I mean, you look at it and it's just, yeah, it's stay safe out there. Don't skimp on safety. I mean, all it takes is everybody has the mindset, "Ah, it ain't going to happen to me," right? Well, all it takes is one time. That's it. All it takes, we can be fast, you can be competitive, you can do a lot of stuff. You get hurt in a race car, and it can be life changing like that for you and your family. So be safe out there, everybody. It's a hell of a great sport. We love it. It's highly entertaining, but we don't want, I mean, as much as fans, the casual fan, right? They like seeing big crashes, right? We don't because we know what this shit costs, right? We like I don't when I see somebody tumble and destroy stuff, I'm like, that's expensive. That sucks, right? But we know that there's a certain percentage of the world that goes to a race and they're kind of hoping for a couple big crashes because it's exciting, right? It's exciting. So, if you're a fan in the stands, you see somebody crash, pause a little bit before you get too excited about that crash. Make sure everybody's okay. And pretty cool that most of the streaming platforms, when there's a big wreck, they kind of turn away from it until they know that driver's okay. So that's a pretty cool thing right there. So yeah, a lot of craziness there. A little more craziness. I don't remember the two drivers, but did you guys see that fist fight?
yes.
Bert, did you see that? Kraus
I
sent the
I
video.
saw the beginning of it, but I didn't see the whole thing.
Oh, you
So
gotta watch the whole thing.
So I'm gonna pull up something here and I'm gonna look. So well, I thought I had it on my pictures, but I have it in my text feed. I didn't save it to my pictures. One of the tracks actually made a rule, right? The Earl Baltus. Remember, we all remember Earl Baltus saying, if you're gonna fight on the racetrack. There was whatever track they were at. I don't remember it. It's online, but they actually said there's a rule that came out just a few weeks back that if you're going to fight, you better be fighting on the front straightaway. The track went as far as they put that post out there. They had a video, they took the video link and they had the link in there. We had our first fight on the front straightaway. They played this deal up. And when I'm talking about a fight, we're not talking like just a couple little punches. It was a straight up hockey Donnybrook, right? It was literally a boxing match on the track. Bert, your thoughts on that whole deal?
I mean, it's entertainment for the fans, but you're kind of turning racing into the WWE. I mean, you're turning it into. I mean, racing is entertainment, but I mean, you don't want to create a circus out there.
And we think about the Madhouse, right? And you're right. I mean, I think if it's a real fight though, I mean, if they're gonna fight, let them fight. I mean, it's not fabricated. It's not like it's like if it's a legit deal,
Oh,
have at it, right? But I mean, I'm all about, T-Mac says fear equals respect, right? But here's the deal. One wrong punch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it takes. I mean, we're talking adults. I mean, you're a high school kid fighting, you don't hit quite as hard. You're an adult fighting, one wrong punch, you kill somebody. There's a lot of things you can do. You ruin a whole lot of lives quick, fast, in a hurry. Their lives would be over. The track would be closed down. Slippery slope. And we see that in hockey, right? That's the same argument. Chonga's a big hockey guy, big NHL guy. You know, would you agree, Chonga, that's kind of split? 50% are got to get fighting out of the game. 50%, I don't know if the numbers are exact, but a good percentage got to get fighting out of hockey. Good percentage is like, no, it's part of hockey. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I guess I don't. Everybody likes to see a little scrap, right? But it's not the same way it used to be. I mean, they keep their helmets on now and they just punch each other in the shield, and the shield cuts a guy's nose open. But it's not like it used to be. I'm okay with it, but I don't watch the game for it either. But that deal on the racetrack, let me tell you, man, them two guys, each of them probably swung a good 10 times at each other as hard as humanly possible. I mean, either one of them could have been dead right now. I mean, that was brutal. I couldn't even believe they were throwing haymakers, and it was, holy smokes. Well, and then I don't know if you heard that they paid them both $50 afterwards, I think.
That's a dangerous game right there. I get it. I get what they're trying to do, but oh boy, I'm telling you, a lawsuit waiting to happen. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen right there. So, watching Rice Lake, B Main #1 in the books, winner of the B Main, Cody Coomer. Okay. Now, Bert, I don't know if you saw in our text feed. Do you know what that means, Bert? Cody Coomer announced at the beginning of the
Yeah,
night
I did see that.
that whoever wins the feature tonight at the Little Dream, full teardown.
And he
Well,
had to sing to do it.
he had to make the feature. One of the tech guys, I don't know if he's teching there tonight, but a tech guy, a Wissota tech guy, reached out and they're like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" I'm like, "No," and he says now he's got to make the feature. He might have had a provisional because he won it last year, so he might have been in anyway. I'm not 100% sure, but whoever wins tonight, you're getting tore down. Awesome. Awesome. I'm a firm believer. It should happen anyway. You're getting paid $25,000-$30,000 to win a race. That whole car should come apart, right? Plain and simple. IMCA Boone Super Nationals, they tear stuff down and they don't pay anywhere near that amount of money. So a lot of people have said it for a long time. If they're going to win that kind of money, tear them down. And let's face it, Changa, if you won that race, if you walked out of there with 25, 28, $30,000 and you had to completely tear your car apart, would it really hurt your feelings all that bad?
I hope I have a big picture with me that night.
True.
I
True.
just
That kind of money though, that kind of
watch.
money you can take the next day off work. That kind of money you can be like, you know what, I'm calling in dead tomorrow. I'm just not coming. So good luck to all the racers tonight. XR. So the big deal happened this past weekend, and Barry Braun, very polarizing figure in dirt racing, right? He's got a group of people that are super allegiant to him. They got his back. He's got a certain amount of people that are like absolutely can't stand him. And it seems like with everything he's done in the last few years, more of it good than not, because he's really brought a lot of money to the forefront in dirt track racing. Um, Everybody's kind of got an opinion, right? Everybody kind of does. The one thing though I want to ask you guys about what he's got, he had the mod is called ONA Modifieds, One Nation Under Modified, I think is what it is. And the idea is there's UMP cars, USRA cars, Wissota cars, right? They're all racing under one banner. They were racing for 125,000 to win at Ogilvy. Good fan count down, or good fan group down there. Car count for 125 grand to win, a lot lighter than what I had anticipated, and a lot of people have their speculation on why that is. Midwest mods race for 25 large, okay? But here's the kicker, Burton. You saw this. They actually added in IMCA modifieds ran with the Wissota and USRA B mods, okay? And there was a lot of people like, this is bullshit. We're racing a modified. You guys got any thoughts on that? I do, but I'm gonna let you guys go first. Your thoughts on how the event went, as far as kind of the parity of the classes and so on. What was your thoughts?
You go ahead, Changa. I actually didn't see any of it, so I can't really comment on how the competition was.
Yeah, Bert said that fuck Barry Brown, he ain't watching. I'm kidding. He didn't say that. Settle down.
So in the big modifieds, I mean, there was, I would say, like just after your first night of qualifying, everybody, your top 16 qualifiers, it was heavy with your USRA type of cars taking up half of the field. And the same thing in the B mods, half the field was IMCA cars. I think the IMCA mods had an advantage in the Midwest mod portion of the event, but it's the first time, right? I mean, you gotta, they can make some adjustments to make it a little more competitive. I mean, all in all, I mean, all your different sanctioning bodies, they had it was sprinkled in with a little bit of everything. And our Wasota guys competed right up front with, second place and a fourth place up there against the best of the best. So, I mean, it wasn't all bad, taking the track didn't have a whole lot of traction. So that was kind of an equalizer, I suppose.
It did in the feature. There's a lot of traction up top in the feature. They were hammered down the whole race. A lot of grip. So Bert, I'm gonna call out Changa, give him a donkey award for kind of being a pussy here, because that was not the opinion that he gave me 3 hours ago when he's like, "Well, they had a big advantage and it was," and now he's softened up. He's kind of getting old. He's soft, kind of soft, right?
I didn't even know I did this. So this is news to me.
Yeah, yeah. When I talked to you, you're like, well, it wasn't even close. It was a big. They had a major advantage. I looked at the lap times, right, and I argued with JR about this. So the winner, Aaron Johnson, hell of a job. He's been good. He's been absolutely dominant at North Central and Brainerd, dominant all year. He's won almost every race down there. And with this kind of money comes in, guys, you got Ethan Braxma in the house. Ethan Braxma is one of the top IMCA mod drivers in the country right now. He's been amazing. Aaron Johnson had to drive right back by him to win. So that's impressive. You're battling up there and beating Ethan Braxma. You're doing shit right. He's for real. But Joey Jensen, Tyler Vernon wasn't there, right? He didn't go. I don't believe he was there, was he?
Maybe. I
I
guess I
don't
don't.
I
I
don't
think he
think he
won,
was.
didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did win. Did he win in Ashland? Is that where he won? Bert,
Possibly.
Bert, while we're talking about this, can you look up Tyler Vernon on my race pass? I don't believe he was there.
Yep.
Him and Joey Jensen have been the 1 and 1A Midwest mods right now. Joey had a hell of a crash. Vendella got into him, and I think it was Vendella got into him, and Joey kind of hit like the roll cage against the fence, and it was ugly. But
Cool.
the car didn't sound like it was quite as bad as what we thought. I'm sure it took a lot of work. They did get it back out. But that was the top two guys. Jake Smith, I think, was maybe one of the highest finishing, maybe the highest finishing Midwest mod. But if you take the top couple drivers out of there, if you look at like the fastest lap, I'm not talking the average of the whole race or whatever, but if you just take fastest lap versus fastest lap versus fastest lap, other than the top couple 2-3 drivers, the Wasota Midwest mods were about 2/10 off. Well, if you go 20 laps, right, without a yellow, it was a 40 lap race. 2/10 a long ways, right? That's a long ways. So it was definitely an advantage to the IMCA mods, but not as big as what I thought it was gonna be. Okay, not as big as what I thought. In the modifieds, I think I'm not 100% positive. I should have checked on this. I heard Strickler say that somebody brought the car up from North Carolina. I'm about 100% positive that was his UMP car that he won with. So I think so because he was awful with the US MTS car. He got one top 10 in the last 4 races. He was awful leading into that with the US MTS car. So he ran good. Second place, and I'm not 100% sure if he had a Wasota legal car or if he kind of had the UMP stuff going on. He does have UMP stuff, and just been crazy busy after getting back from Canada. So somebody can maybe put in the comments, Joe Thomas was absolutely impressive with a second place finish. But what did you find there, Bert?
Tyler Vernon, right? You said?
Yeah.
It it shows that he raced at Proctor and ABC Raceway last weekend.
Yeah, so he wasn't there. He was not at Ogilvy, which makes no sense to me for that kind of money. I mean, I get it. He supports his local tracks for the most part. I get it, but for that kind of money, the season he's having, I would expected to see him there. But guys, right now, Bert, you remember going to the Wasota 100s in the
Yep.
past, and there'd be 125 modifieds there. It was epic. It was unbelievable, right? They got to the point where they had to have 2 features. Guys, we have 9 modified classes in the region right now. 9. You got Wasota A mods and B mods. You got USRA A mods and B mods plus the Econo mods. You got IMCA mods and Sport mods. You have UMP mods and UMP B mods. That's and you take throughout the Midwest and Upper Midwest.
Stores too.
Then you add mod 4s in. Fair enough. That's 9 modified classes. 9. Back in the day when they had 125 mods at the 100, there was no B mods. That wasn't a thing yet, right? So they split, but then they split again and they split again because I don't know when USRA started, but I think USRA started after the heyday of the Soda 100 at Cedar Lake. Okay. So they had USMTS, but USRA massively grew kind of after that. Well, holy shit. You wonder why there's no mods anymore. Guys, it's so bad that Montevideo, Fiesta City Speedway in Montevideo made an announcement in the past week that they cut mods from their program for the rest of the season. Okay. Now, everybody's got their opinion on that. I saw a couple nights they had 4, but they had low super counts, low late model counts. We ain't gonna get into all that. But if you look across all of Wasota on regular night racing, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of tracks that average under 10 of them in modifieds. And why is that? Because it's massively split in like 9 different freaking pieces. And I get it. We don't have UMP in Minnesota, Wisconsin, North and South Dakota. So you can really call it 7. But what Barry's trying to do, and I'm a big, everybody has their opinion of this guy, and that's fine. Okay. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to that. Okay. But one thing I'm super passionate about that he's trying to do is unify mod rules. He's trying to have events where you can have mods from all the different divisions, all the different sanctions, all the different classes, and come race. That's fantastic. That's the best thing I've ever heard of. That is literally how Wasota started. Wasota was literally every single track had different rules, and a few promoters, drivers got together and said, hey, let's unify this deal so we all have the same rules package. That's what he's trying to do. Anybody who does not stand behind what he's trying to do here has their head so far stuck up their ass that their opinion no longer matters, because that's what racing needs. There's too many different divisions. There's too many different rules packages. He's trying to unify this. And I got to give a big tap or hat tip here to Barry Braun for trying to get that done. Is it perfect? Not yet, but he can tweak on it. Chonga, like you said, it's the first time. It's the first time they did the mods, and it's not the first time that's happened because Don Shaw did that down at the Ernie Mincy last year where they ran the mods, the B mods with the, that's happened before, not to this scale. So could they tweak it a little bit? Sure. Somehow kind of even it up just a little bit? Absolutely, Bert.
Did you have to run the rules of the sanction of the car that you had, or were you able to did they do some modifications to try to equal things out?
No modifications that I
Okay.
know of. It was basically if I'm running as an IMCA mod, I have to run as an IMCA mod, I believe is how they
Okay.
did that. Yep. And that's something they can look at, but you got to have a couple of these shows, right? Before you can you can't have one show and then be like, we got it all figured out. See, Wasota tried this guys already with the late models a couple years back. They did a deal where you could run an open motor and they put a restrictor on the open motor. Don Shaw went out to Huron and kicked the dog shit out of them. I think it was a 5 or 10 grand to win race out there. Well, guess what? Don Shaw won with a WISSOTA motor too and a 525, and it didn't matter. He was just on fire that year, regardless of what he had in. And he won, and he made such a statement. He kicked their ass so bad that WISSOTA went, holy shit, that we can't do this anymore. We got to scrap this whole idea. It's gone. Over one time. They were close. They tried. WISSOTA actually tried at one point to kind of have the Dirt Kings type rules or tri-state late model kind of rules. They did that. And because Don Shaw beat them by so much, they weren't willing to tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit closer. So it's been close before, and I have faith that it can happen. And right now, Barry Brown's the only guy doing it. So I got to give a shout out to him and XR for that. All right, let's jump on. Any other hot topics here, guys, before we jump on to the next topic? Anything?
Oh well, I'm gonna pull an audible. We had it on the agenda, and I told you we wouldn't talk about it, but let's talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
Shawano Speedway. One late model last week. Andy Carl was there. I mean, Andy Carl has been there every week that they have had late models there. He's been loyal to that speedway. Well, and also loyal to his sponsors. I mean, sponsors give him money to be at the track, so you know he shows up at the track to race. But anyway, it was the race director announced that he was resigning as race director. So Shawano Speedway now has a new race director, and based on comments from late model drivers on Facebook and other people associated with late model teams, it was the race director was the reason they were not showing up at Shawano Speedway. Now, take that for what it's worth. So if that's the case, are they all going to be there now? I don't think they're. I I just don't think that that's the only thing that they're upset with. But I was on my way back from a concert on Saturday night, and and they had posted. There's a post about the Shawano late models on Facebook, and somebody replied basically that the late models weren't showing up because of what I just said, the race director. And I replied back to the guy. This is a former racer. He raced late models in the late '80s and in the early '90s. I replied back, well, that's all fine and dandy, but you may not have a place to race next year, because I just do not see Shawano Speedway having late models weekly next year. I mean, how can you have a late model division weekly where you get 1, 2, 3, 4 cars? And so I mean, are they shooting themselves in the foot to try to prove a point, and then they're not going to have anywhere to race? And his reply back to me was, "Oh yeah, there's tracks all over that want them." Really? Are there? Are there tracks that are clamoring to add late models to their program? I don't agree with that statement.
Maybe once, right? Maybe one time or
Right,
twice a year, but not weekly. I
right,
mean, it's a death sentence. Unless you have a big late model fan base, it's a death sentence for a club run track, because it's the most expensive part of the purse. I mean, if you
right,
look at the weekly purse, I mean, in a lot of cases, I've seen a lot of tracks where just the late model purse alone is roughly 50% of the overall purse. Do they really bring in that many more fans to offset that? And we got fans of the show and sponsors of the show that are big proponents of late models. And it's like, I don't know, man, the math ain't mathing, right? So I don't know. The one time off, the one off deal, the two off deal, yes. And in a perfect world, which we know that doesn't exist, what if all the promoters over there just got together and said, okay, look, this weekend we're gonna run them, next
right,
weekend you run them. That's what should happen over there. I mean,
right,
there is enough late models if they all work together to actually have some quality late model events.
right.
But
I mean,
man,
and then and I replied back to him, and he never responded back to my reply. But in my reply, I said, I mean, um, Lexi Speedway, they had a Dirt Kings race 2 years ago. The crowd wasn't very very good that night, and they haven't had late model race there since. Seymour, they are racing them almost almost every other week, but like last week they had 14 late models. Is Seymour going to schedule as many late model shows next year as what they did this year? 141, why would they add a high paying division when they're already getting 150 to 200 cars? So, and Plymouth Dirt Track, I mean, they actually did drop late models several years ago. The only reason they have the Super 6 series is because two fans went out and got sponsorship and convinced the track to run them for 6 nights with that extra sponsorship. So, I mean, you know, there's just a limited number of places to race, and I agree with you. What has to happen is all the tracks come together, and like 141 takes them 1 week out of the month, and their street stocks race at Shawano that week instead of at 140. Do some trading like that. And if you can get 3 or 4 tracks to work together like that, then you could you know maybe put together a quality schedule for the late models.
In a perfect world, I tell you right now, there is a lot of drama with dirt late model racing in eastern Wisconsin. I mean, hell, they
Yeah.
had the World of Outlaws there last night in Wilmot, which is the southernmost point of eastern Wisconsin over there, kind of right down just north of, I guess it would be south of Milwaukee, kind of, right, is where
Yep.
Wilmot is.
Yep.
And would they have 20 total?
20.
And so would they have 2 or 3 eastern Wisconsin guys? I figured maybe you'd see a Swedberg or a McGrath or a
Was Taylor
Anbelank.
Scheffler there?
I don't
Was
recall seeing his name there. I don't think so.
That
Which is a
surprises me
surprise.
a little bit.
Yeah. Turk Letizio was there.
Which was
Paul Parker
Yep.
was there.
Bert's boy, Mitch McGrath.
Was McGrath there?
Yep, I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there wasn't many. There was not many at all. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm telling you right now, it's gotten bad. Like you said, I mean, I gotta give a shout out right to Andy Carl. I mean, it takes
Right.
a lot for him to be like, I'm going regardless, right? I got sponsors here. I race here. This is my track. I'm gonna show up, and if they have us, they have us. If they don't, they don't. Um, Respect to him for that. That's a tough deal because I mean, you go there and you're sitting there looking around, going, this sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
he wants to race. That's why he's there. He could very easily just go somewhere else, but I
Yeah.
don't
And
know.
I
It's
mean, he lives
it's
he
ugly.
lives in Mosinee, so I mean, that's more than an hour drive, I believe, to get to Shawano. So it's not like he just lives in the backyard and drives 5 minutes to get to the track. Well, I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, with a lot of these drivers located in the Shawano area, that aren't showing up, if a track an hour and a half wants to have weekly, are you going to drive, what have you gained if you have to drive an hour and a half to get to a track to race when you could drive 10 minutes to get to the track? I mean,
Exactly.
I understand they're complaining because they what they say is they make suggestions and the speedway doesn't act on any of the suggestions, and they're just stuck in their ways, and there's a lot of politics going on.
In racing, no, I don't believe it. That never happened. That's not a thing. That's false. That's false. So
Bert, so how has the fan count been with the low car counts or little to no late models? Has it changed at all?
Well, I wasn't there last week. The week before that was a decent crowd, but it was racing for a reason night, and so they usually get a pretty good crowd for racing for a reason. But if I had to guess, I would say the crowd numbers are probably down compared to last year. That's just me, doing the eye test. I have no confirmation of that.
and quite honestly, the overall car count of the other classes isn't spectacular either.
No, no,
I mean, it's less than 20, right, of everything. So I think
right,
Shawano's got a
right.
great history for dirt track racing, and right now, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do. But changes need to happen over at Shawano. Maybe it no longer needs to be the big half mile. Maybe shorten that thing up. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Just a thought. All right, event or race of the week.
Well,
Um,
I
th- Oh, go ahead, Bert. I think you cut out there.
Oh, I just said I agree with you 100%. The track needs to be shortened.
Yeah, I think most people do. I think you look across the board, all the big half-mile tracks in the area, the car counts are less than the smaller tracks. It just is what it is. So this past, over the past couple weeks, was there a specific race or event or anything that stuck out to you like holy shit was that that one was special? To me, my favorite event, I mean, the PDC stands out, but anything else to you guys?
Well, I mean, obviously the PDC. Since we didn't do a show, I mean, the PDC ran. It was they got over at what 1:30 in the morning or at
Yeah,
two
it was
o'clock
dang near
in the
2. It might
morning.
have been.
But
Yeah.
they had the rain delay. I mean, we didn't do a show last week, so I'm going to go back a little bit, and the Mater Memorial race. That was a good event, but they were racing at 1 o'clock in the morning for that event.
They had a lot of yellows. They had a ton of rain there that week too, leading into that deal, and it was pretty cowboy up. But they had a big car count, and I looked at the crowd, and the crowd actually looked like it was pretty decent. I mean, Cedar Lake holds a shit ton of people. You ain't gonna fill it up for a race like that, but if they had a small grandstands, it would have been full. They did have a good crowd for the Mater. They did. I think they did very well, which is good because I
Mhm.
was a big Dwayne Mater guy, and for them to put on a race like that year after year, I want that race to be a success. It looked like it was. Changa, to me, the PDC, it's Fairbury. The racing's always good. It just is what it is. But I'm gonna ask you guys this, right? Does Shawano have a curfew, Bert?
Yes, 11
They,
o'clock.
11 o'clock. So I know like Viking Speedway, 10:30 or whatever, 11 o'clock maybe. I mean, there's a lot of tracks that are inside of communities that have a curfew, for obvious reasons. You're in town, right? I get it. Fairbury's in town. It's in a residential area, right? And they're racing till 2 in the morning. The place is hopping. The atmosphere was electric all night long. I mean, the the vibe from that place and just the overall energy and the economic impact, that is one of the few places right now that you can get away with racing in town till 3 o'clock in the morning, and the neighbors are, and quite honestly, all the neighbors, the houses around there, it's kind of like Lambo, right? Like people park in their yards. So some of these big events, they're making some pretty significant money, from allow people to park there. So that maybe helps with things. But um, anything stick out to you, Changa, or either one of you guys from the PDC this past weekend? That was easily my favorite event of the past couple weeks.
Yeah, I would say that was mine as well. And it's, you look forward to it all year long. Um, awesome seeing Squirrel win that thing, right? One of the few Illinois guys that's never won that one before. So good to see him win it. RTJ just starting parking, that sticks out to me. I don't know what that's all about after, I mean, last year
Well,
he drove from the back last year to the front. Um, Bobby Pierce spinning out on a restart, sitting in second place. That sticks
Did
out to me.
did you see what happened there?
Someone told me he hit a hole, and I don't know what exactly.
Stalled his motor.
Well, yeah, and I asked you about that. I wonder if he
He
stalled.
did. He did. He had a Facebook post, and he said it happened a couple times during the race where he shut it down on the bottom, and the motor kind of stumbled. You get a super tight quarter-mile track, low RPMs. I've had modifieds and late models kind of shut off. I get what happened, and you don't see him make that kind of mistake very often. Let's just face it. The RTJ deal, Bert, you're a race fan. Okay, you're a race fan. So there's a lot of people out there that have pretty limited budget, right? They're paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people. One big major event comes to town, and you're like, hey, the family, we're gonna go to this race. We don't have a lot of extra money. This is our weekend. This is what we do. And you're a big if you're a big RTJ fan, you're like, man, I'm going to this race. I want to watch my guy. They got some rain. Track's going to be fast. He's starting in the back. Boy, if anybody can come from the back on a track like this, it's a 20 RT. I'm jacked. I want to watch him race. And then he pulls that bullshit. I'm going to start and park and save my car. You're going to save it for a fucking 10 grand to win race? What are we talking about here?
well, it wasn't. I mean, I'll agree. It wasn't a strict start and park. He actually spun into the infield, and he just pulled into the infield. He didn't go back out onto the track. So he
Yeah,
did.
but it was
He
right away. He was only going to
Well,
lose
no,
one
right. I
spot.
agree, but it wasn't like he just went out there, took one lap, and pulled in. But I mean, he spun out, spun into the infield, and then just pulled in. Then,
Did he
um,
spin in purpose though to get in the infield and get out of the way to bring up
oh,
the?
that I don't know. That I don't know.
I
Oh,
think that's because
that could be okay.
it sounded like they talked about it beforehand that they were going to make one lap and pull off. So I think I don't know this for sure, but I think he spun it into the infield so that way he didn't bring out a yellow. I
I'm
think
gonna
he's
guess.
Okay, you may be right. Okay, I retract my statement then.
I guess he turned into the infield. I think he turned into the infield. It was so freaking slimy that
yeah.
That could
you know,
be okay.
hey, let's be honest. Tanner English changed, 5 left rear tires and ripped off half his body to keep going back out there. And he probably ain't got playing with the budget that RTJ is.
Massively disappointing, right? Because I mean, hell, Bobby Pierce won it from last year. He came from the back twice. He came from the back up into the top 5, came from the back again late. You know,
RTJ came from the back to the top 5 before he broke a J bar last year.
he did, yeah. So I mean, and I hindsight's 2020. I think they expected it to be a cowboy up rodeo track after the rain. It wasn't. The track was good. Yeah, there was a cushion, but it's falls. There's always a cushion. That's part of falls, right? I was disappointed. I'm an RTJ fan. I like watching 20 RT. He's a hell of a race car driver. For somebody to just be like, I'm at a
Okay.
crown jewel 50 grand to win race, and I'm just gonna like, I just don't feel like playing today. Him of all people, Bert, a couple weeks ago, they had that fucking IMCA race for the stock cars, and he chose to start in the back for the second race of that deal. Like they had the split, the split deal, and he chose. He's good enough driver to where he can come from the back, and man, I hope I never witness something like that again. I mean, I get it if you're, here's the deal. If you had no intention of racing that race, why not just give that spot to somebody? You don't need the 3 grand. Just be like, hey, I'm not going to race. You want to race it? Go ahead, take my spot, right? Um, sad state of affairs. But yeah, the PDC, Brian Shirley's wife too. I don't want to speculate on exactly what's going on, but I know he stated that she's in the hospital getting treatment. So some kind of medical issue. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say because I'm not
Right.
100% sure. But
I
he
think
was
he
pretty
said it's
emotional.
I believe he said it's like a something that they have to do every so many years or so many months.
Okay.
It's happened. That was the scheduled time where she was going to be in there for, I don't know, it was a week
And
or
he
two.
was emotional. Yeah, he was emotional about it too. The first night when he won the qualifier, he was emotional then. And for he's one of the good guys in the sport. You don't hear many people talking shit about Brian Shirley. It sounds like he's a pretty darn likable guy. For him to get that win and the crowd went absolutely bonkers. I mean, let's face it, 50% of the place love Bobby Pierce. 50% of the place absolutely hates Bobby Pierce. I don't think that Brian Shirley really had many haters. I think the
No.
crowd overall is pretty happy to see him
But
win.
but that's actually what racing needs. I mean, that's what racing
It does.
strives on is, half the crowd hates you, half the crowd um likes you. I mean, when I was on MJ's crew, MJ, he got booed a lot at channel because he won a lot, but he got booed a lot, and he'd always say, they know that I'm here.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And
That
that
never
is
happened to you before, right?
Yeah, no, never. That was BP 32 in a nutshell, right? Because he's polarizing. I mean, he's definitely one of the, I mean, if not the best in racing right now, one of the very best. And so he's going to have some definite retractors out there. So let's jump into some studs and duds. And I know Bert, if you do something pops to mind, just interrupt us, jump in. But Bert wasn't planning to be on, so he didn't have his stuff ready for this. But I want to give a shout out here to our buddy Brad Parsons Soil and Egg Solution. Look forward to seeing him this weekend down at the Cedar Lake Speedway. You guys will get to meet him. Great sponsor of the show here. And if you're in western Minnesota, the Dakotas, if you're in farming, what do you want to do? You want to make more money. How do you do that? You got to get the right stuff in them spray packages, get higher yields. He has all the data points. He's got all the info. Why not take some time, give Brad a call at 320-219-3542 and just learn about all the products that he has to see if it's something that you can try out for the next planting season. So Brad Parsons, Soil and Ag Solution. So on the national scene here, Changa, just give us your stud, give us your dud, and Bert, like I said, if you do something pops up, by all means, jump in. But as of right now, we'll just kind of roll through. Bert, stand by. Changa, studs and duds.
Well, since we haven't done a show in a couple weeks, I guess I'm going to cover a couple weeks worth of studs and duds, right? And I guess on the national tour, I'm going to go with Anthony Macri, right? A posse guy going to Eldora and mopping up. He wins the $200,000, gets to be crowned the king, right? But he got a fifth and a second also that week with a 28th in there. But the second was also on the night that was $100,000 to win, right? So and then big money races, Anthony Macri made himself some cash. So he's my stud of the 2 weeks.
Nice.
My dud's going to be Brandon Overton. Okay. His last win was May 2nd. Right. He's had 4 podiums in his last 28 races. He's now fallen to 7th in the points. He's 455 points out of the chase, essentially irrelevant.
I guess you don't want to be in the Longhorn house car.
No.
Oof, I guess not.
Go ahead, Ryan. I got enough. I had some others scratched down there, but I can't even read my own writing.
That's all good. I'm gonna go mods here. So specifically, I'm gonna go based off the last couple weeks, but Smoke, Joe Chisholm. Last week there was 4. They had the mod wars kind of rolled through Minnesota. They started at Fairmont and then they went Princeton, Ogilvie, Granite City. In that swing, he actually got 2 feature wins. He won at Fairmont and he won at Ogilvie. He got 2nd at Granite, got 9th at Princeton, and then not quite the week he had to pit early that he was looking for at the Big O, but he got 10th in the Big Deal. But Joe Chisholm has been really, really strong. Celebrated a birthday here in the last couple days, so happy birthday to Joe Chisholm as well. The High Side Tickler. This is kind of you want to talk about something that's interesting. Leading into the Big Deal, guys, they had that on that same 4-night swing. You got a 10th, 19th, 18th, and 17th. Right? Then they brought the car up from Charlotte. It sounds like I think it was a UMP car. He goes out, wins $125,000. Nice rebound, pretty big biggest payday of his career. Remember, I still think back to him leading the Intercontinental at Eldora, and the tire going down on the final lap, and that was what was that, $50,000 to win that one,
50.
or was that, yeah? And I mean, it was in the bag. He was gone. And so he got some redemption there. So congrats to him. I want to give another shout out here, Alex Williamson. He won at Casson this past week. So Casson had a one-off special that they put together down there, and he beat Brandon Davis to get it done. And then at the Big Deal, Alex Williamson, who does have a USMTS win, by the way, at Ogilvie, 14th to 3rd in that race. Very, very impressive. I want you guys to be completely honest. I say Dillard's there, both Chisholms, right? Tanner Mullins, Rodney Sanders, all these guys are there. If I said hard charger in this deal, the guy that's going to come from deep to the podium is going to be Alex Williamson. Probably wouldn't have expected that. No, he's a good race car driver, but he's not somebody that you would expect to go plus 11 to the podium. That's a hell of a run right there on a big stage. My dud, I'm a big fan too. Kind of pains me to say this. My dud is Brandon Davis. $125,000 to win a couple hours from your house? Are you out of your mind? How do you not go to that race? I don't understand. Racers, we're all brain dead, every one of us, right? I'm a former racer. We're all stupid. None of us, we all suck at math. None of us have a clue. 125,000 to win. Brandon Davis is arguably the fastest mod driver around. When Chisholms and all that come to town, he's winning. In my mind, Brandon Davis is the number one top mod driver in Minnesota, and it's not close. It's not close. I can't even. I wouldn't even. And I would add in Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, and right now, if you put Chisholm against him, I'd put him on top of Joe and Jim Chisholm as well. And he's not there for 125,000 to win. I don't get it. Makes no sense. That is my dud of the week because that kind of money on the line, go take that money, go get it. And very disappointed that he was not there. And I will say this, okay? I'm gonna come back around on this one because Brandon Davis is my guy, and I didn't hear this from him, but there's a lot of people, right, that are a lot of speculation about some favoritism for certain drivers, right? Cade Dillard wins the 100 grand last year and is flat out illegal in post race tech, and they let him go, right? They kind of make up rules as they go on how they're going to tech things. He jumped to start this past weekend, and they go yellow and they give him his spot back. And in another race, a guy jumped to start and they docked him. So I'm telling you, it's not just skipping out on 125. Part of the reason is the polarizing guy running the show. And that is just what it is. So let's jump into the late models, local late model scene. Changa.
So I guess I'm going to go with Jesse Glenn's as my stud of the week. He's won 2 of his last 3, and he won our biggest, our Wasota, one of our biggest race of the year.
Can I correct you?
Yeah.
He's got 3 in a row.
I mean, he won 2 out of 3.
One of them was a mod race. He has in the Wasota type, because Cedar Lake's not Wasota, in the Wasota type late models, he got 3 in a row, and he got 2 top 4 finishes in SLMR stuff, kind of mixed in there. So, yeah.
Anyhow, he won our biggest race of the year, the Mater Memorial, and or one of our biggest races of the year. So he's definitely my stud. My dud, I'm going to go Daryl Nelson. Since that Ironman win that he had up in Hibbing, he's got a 15th place DNF, a 10th, a 22nd place DNF, 2 6th, and then finally his last outing, I think it was at Rice Lake, he did get a 2nd. So that late model's been on the struggle bus a bit, and hopefully he's going in the right direction with that 2nd that he got there last week, coming into the USA Nationals here where I did draft him for my draft. So
that's my fault. My fault, because I actually made a bold prediction that Daryl was going to be on the podium. So that's my fault. He wasn't. So I'm going to take that. Sorry, Daryl. Sorry. All right. My hot, I'm going to go Superman, Mike Stearns. So he's won 3 of his last 4. And they had the Dakota Rumble. 2 of those wins were at Miller. They had the Dakota Rumble Tri-State late model race out at the Brown County Speedway this past weekend. You guys remember, it used to be heats 1 day features the next 10 grand to win. Now I think it was 3 and 5, I think is what it was. He got 4th night 1, but he did win the finale of the Dakota Rumble. So a guy that, I mean, he's won a lot of races, former national champion in the modified. He knows how to win. But the 24 looking good out there. Congratulations, big win out there at Brown County. Remember, a couple weeks back, he doubled up in the modified at the memorial race there for his friend. So he's been very strong as of late. Probably should give a shout out here, guys, to Ryan Michelson. Remember, he rolled earlier in the year. I think it was a Challenge Series show early in the year I think it was a Challenge Series opener at I-94. He got upside down, and that was in May. He didn't come back out till mid-July. Because he's not a huge budget guy, got a big family, so he's not the guy that's just rolling in money. Well, he come back out. They had a nice car count out there in Mandan, good racetrack out there, and he actually doubled up at the North Dakota Governor's Cup. So congratulations, Ryan Michelson. My dud, Viking Speedway. What are you doing? I don't understand, right? You got the Dakota Rumble going on. You got the North Dakota Governor's Cup with a double header where most of the North Dakota guys are going. There's no late models in central Minnesota there's none even there. and you're going to schedule a late model race that same, really, that weekend? You couldn't pick a different, I don't understand, right? They had five. Unfortunately, they had a good car going at the Challenge Series race. 5 late models at the last one. Unbelievable. Get it
More than
together.
Shano.
Yeah, they had more than Shano. They did. They did have more than Shano. Bert, come on now. Be
I
nice. Come on.
I have one to add in this one. It was several weeks ago when Nick Avalink, he rolled his car at Outagamie Speedway in Seymour, and they got it back together, and he raced in the Mater, and he had to go through the B, but he wound up finishing second in the race. So it was a good run for him and his first time back in the car after repairing it.
I forgot that he went from the B to second in that. Yeah, good catch there. And boy, did you see that wreck Sam Mars got in? Holy shit, was that a hard hit.
Yes.
McGrath, I think, hooked a rut and did like a right
Yep.
hand turn in the middle of the back straightaway, and I assume that car was junk. I know Burdick, he junked his pretty bad in Superior, pieced it together to get out for Proctor, but sounds like he's taking the weekend off. I was hoping to see him down at the USA Nationals, but sounds like he's going to take the weekend off to kind of just completely regroup and go through it. Non-qualifier race going on out there for the street stock, so we'll see if we can stay tuned here and watch the mods, or watch the mods, watch the feature. All right, modifieds here. Chonga, what do you got?
My stud, I'm going to go with Jody Belfi again. He had a 22nd to 4th at that USMTS race down at Ogilvie. Incredible run. Then he went to Proctor the next night and won, drove by Blake Adams to get that one done. And then he went and then he got another 4th place finish at the XR mod race as well. Went to Proctor, had a 5th. That's kind of a one-off where he's probably just tired from all the excitement of the weekend. But yeah, some big time races where he's competed awful well. One of our local guys. So
Yeah,
Joey
he's been
stud.
Belfi's been good as of late. Got any duds?
Well, I'm going to go with Daryl Nelson again in the mod as well. That's his last 3 races. He's got a 21st place DNF, a 5th, and a 14th place DNF, and then didn't even bring it out to play last weekend. So I'm trying to get this guy on the hot list. So we're gonna put him, call him a dud, and try to get him sparked a little bit.
We'll see what we can do. All right, I'm gonna go Joe Thomas. He got 3rd at that USMTS race at Granite, then he got 2nd at the Big Deal. Again, not positive if he had UMP stuff in for Ogilvie. I believe that was his Wasota stuff, but I'm not positive. But Joe Thomas has been a good runner, very consistent. I would not, no disrespect, but I wouldn't put him up there with like your Belfi, Sabraski, TPO. You know, he's probably that next group down. He's very solid, very good, very competitive. But to see him get second in that race, I'm gonna be honest, that was a surprise. It was pleasant surprise. Good kid, raced against his dad, Corky Thomas, one of the best race car drivers out from the Fargo area that I raced against. He was a really good career. I think he still builds engines for TPO, actually. But Joe Thomas had a hell of a run. He actually threw a slider at good old Strickler there, took the lead for a split second, got him back. Got to give a shout out to our boy, the one to go show 40D, Blake Adams. He's got 50% win percentage in his last 10 races. He's won half. He's been good. He's been solid. Would have liked to have seen him at the Big Deal. Duds, I'm going to go 2 ways. And she acknowledged this herself, but Kennedy Swan, she's like, it has not been a good season. Guys, she started front row in the heat race side by side with Cade Dillard. She come in the first corner and threw a frickin' haymaker at him. I'm like, oh, nice. She threw the slider and Dillard crossed her over. I'm like, oh, here we go. She gets into turn 3, stuffs it in the fence. It's like, oh God, weekend over. And that ended her weekend right there. It has been a forgettable season for Kennedy Swan. And the real dud, quite honestly, politics aside, I get it. I understand the politics side of things. I do. But that kind of money on the line, guys. I mean, if you're a competitive mod driver, Midwest mod driver, and you don't show up at a race like they had at Ogilvie, I just don't get it. I don't understand. you don't have many opportunities to race for that kind of money. And I mean, it's disappointing to me. I would expect a race like that to easily have 100 of both classes. Still end up being a good show, but it is what it is. All right, super stock, Sarah Changa. But before we get into the super stocks, how about we give a shout out to our boys up in Ashland, Wisconsin, Chris Redding and the crew over at Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating, right there in Ashland, home of the Galloper chassis. Not building quite as many cars, as they did in the past, but they do custom fabricating over there. They can build anything, sandblasting, powder coating. They get anything racing related, safety, tires, wheels, shocks, any part you need for racing, they can get it. They can drop ship to your house. Number one sponsor of the best series on Wissota Racing, the Northland Superstock Series. We're a week away from the final weekend of that. But Fastlane Motorsports and Powder Coating up in Ashland, Wisconsin. All right, Changa, stud and dud in the super stocks.
I'm going to go with Kurt Myers for my stud this week. He's got 13 straight top twos. He's got 6 wins. Oh, I didn't even fix my math. I think he's got 6 wins in 7 seconds. He had a second at Gondik and Rice Lake last week, so he's going to be my stud of the week.
He's got to be leading the way right now as far as the national title hopes go. Sobraski really hasn't raced the super. Sounds like he's going to Cedar. Probably not going to race it again this weekend. Dexton Cook's been a little slacking. So Kurt Myers, yeah, that was the number one guy I had too, but I'll change it up a little bit because I do have a couple shout outs to give. How about your dud?
I'm going to go with Dylan Nelson. Guy had 8 feature wins last year, pretty solid. I believe he was up front in the Superstock Series points, and he was very, very competitive on the podium all the time. But he's got 14 races without a win right now. He's only got 2 wins, and he's just, he's on the struggle bus a bit. He's just not clicking them off like he did a year ago.
Yeah, and he's kind of getting his ass whooped by a guy that, I should give a shout out here, Eric Martini. He just won the Ron Johnson Memorial. He's got 6 straight wins up there at North Central in Brainerd, Minnesota. So Eric Martini has been absolutely dynamite. And, of course, Ron Johnson, the father of Tim Johnson, late father, excuse me, of Tim Johnson. I got to know them guys quite a bit in our Superstock days, and they've had the memorial race up there for quite a while now, and Eric Martini just keeps stacking wins up there. But I want to give a big shout out, Chisholm native. How about Doug Koski? They had the month of money, 2,500 to win, Bert, over at the Cedar Lake Speedway this past weekend. Doug Koski bringing her home checkered. Tell you, he's one of the good guys in racing. I mean, Doug is kind of corny. He's fun, always has a good attitude. Usually gives us kind of a recap of what he had at the concession stand. And he did not do that, but he did bring home some hardware. Congratulations, Doug Koski, on that. Steve Stewart won the Mater in the 21. I don't know if you saw that. He was actually running the car Joey usually drives. Then he got on top of the car, and when you get on top of the car and you're like, yeah, and you're like pumped up. The picture they took of him up there, the camera caught him right at the right time to make him look like a serial killer. So I'm kind of concerned. Like I'm friends with Steve Stewart. I'm not sure if I should be. I might be seeing him in a wanted poster. I'm not really sure what that was all about, but congrats, Steve Stewart, on that. The dud, gonna have to go with Tristan Labarge still. He's good at home, not quite traveling well. He's kind of working on some stuff, and he's got to get that 19 kind of rolling. We gotta start stacking some podiums, some wins away from Hibbing, whether it's Rapids, Proctor, Superior, whatever it may be. We got to get that 19 up front. All right, Midwest Modifieds. What do we got?
I go with Joey Jensen for my stud, even after the weekend he had last weekend. The last couple of weeks, he got a win at Rapids, got a win at Ogilvie, a second at Proctor, and then he goes and has that just horrific crash at Ogilvie. But they thrash and get, I don't know. I don't know if they went to a different car, if they repaired that one, but it looked like it looked awful, like it should have been destroyed. So they put in a lot of work to get that thing back to Proctor on Sunday, and he ended up with a 3rd place there. So Joey Jensen's going to be my stud.
Yeah, and him and Tyler Vernon are the two easy low-lying fruits. I see my boy Cody Borgeson. He got a win here this past week. Cody's been really, really strong. Want to give him a shout out. We kind of been saying old Super Mario's been the guy in Montana and Wyoming out there, but Tony Liker had a pretty big week, stacking a couple wins here over the past week. So he's back to his winning ways. Jory Berg, dominant up there in Devil's Lake right now. They had the Golden Hammer up there. I think it was $3,000 to win. Nice big win there for Jory Berg up in Devil's Lake, North Dakota. On the struggle bus, the Nightmare, Lucas Rodin. I'm telling you, talented driver, one of the best around. He's former national champion. Started off the season good, but he has just been it's been a train wreck for him for the better part of 2 months now. So we'll see if we can get the old 19, a couple 19s there on the dud list.
I didn't get to give my dud in the Midwest mod. You skipped right over me.
That's all right. Give your dud now.
All right, and not that I want to, but my dad's going to be Sam Blevins, right? The only one in the family not winning any races. He's got 0 wins in 19 shows this year. He's only got 5 top threes all year. So had a pretty good year last year. Won a couple big races and was on the podium.
Championship too.
Yeah,
Championship.
yeah. Had a bunch of podiums, and this year's not going quite as planned.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess well, they barely race in Hibbing anymore, and so that's probably part of it right there. Street stock action right now. All right, Changa, what do you got? Stud and dud.
My stud. I mean, there's a couple of them. There's 2 of them. They're kind of tied. I'll give you one, and I'll take one.
You want to just we look at the pick'ems last week. I was kind of the stud in the street stocks. Just saying.
I'm going to go with Jimmy Gullickson. He's won 4 straight, 5 of 6. Won at Viking this week. He passed Tourville to win the heat race at Viking that night as well. And he beat him in the feature again. So, not many guys have been able to do that this year. Probably not going to happen tonight. But Jimmy Gullickson's my stud of the week.
Yeah, low-lying fruit, obviously, is Colton Brower. We'll come back to the dud. Sorry about that again. But Colton Brower's easy. 27 wins, right? Cole Gresseth, 16 wins, 9 out of his last 10. 9 out of his last 10 have been on the podium. The other one was a DNF. You know who finally got their win, Bert? You know who finally got a win last weekend? Justin Vogel. They had out at the Dakota Rumble. They had a doubleheader, DRC, the Dirt Race Central Street Stock Tour. Night number 1 went to the local kid out there that's been really good, Jaden Bogue. He got it done. And then night number 2, the Wolverine, Justin Vogel, finally finding victory lane. He's starting somewhere towards the front tonight, I believe, at Rice Lake. So Vogel's my boy. I'd like to see him park in victory lane. That would be fantastic. Who's your dud?
My dud is going to be Levi Rant. He had a 13th place DNF at Wilmer, got 4th at Brown County the first night, and then 20th the second night. As we speak, he's also going to be starting quite a ways up front, so hopefully we can spark him as well.
Yeah, he's talented. He's fun to watch. Both of them Rant boys are very good drivers. I'm just going to go with, if you're not at the Little Dream tonight, you're a dud. Just saying, right? This is the biggest race in Wissota Street Stock Racing. 47 cars, guys. That's disappointing. I mean, not even all the Wisconsin cars are there, which makes no sense to me, right? 47 cars for, I assume it's going to be $25,000 to $30,000. I'm not sure what they're at right now, but yeah, this is a big race, and if you're not there, it's just a head scratcher. You know who's there this year who hasn't gone the last couple of years?
Colton Brower.
Colton Brower. So that's pretty cool to see Colton Brower making the trip. Grassroots, you got any studs or duds in the Grassroots?
Yeah, my stud of the week is going to be Jake Smith. He's got 7 straight top 2s. He won at Gondik and Proctor last week. Got a 2nd at Rice Lake. So Jake Smith's my stud of the week.
His dad, by the way, Hall of Fame, Grand Rapids Speedway this year. Congratulations, Don Smith.
Well, not only that, traveling to Rice Lake. I mean, they're chasing it a little bit here.
They are. Who's your dud?
My dud is going to be Aaron Bernick. He's got 7 straight without a win, and he was kind of hot there for a while. Had a 10th, a 3rd, and a 7th last week, and so a little bit on the struggle bus. Hopefully, you can get her back together here for one of our locals.
I'm gonna go Nick Ruzich on the stud list. I believe he's a rookie, 20 years old, I believe, and I'm assuming Well, I mean, it's Ruzich family, somehow tied in with Jeff Ruzich, right? Hall of Famer in Hibbing. Somehow tied in with that family. I'm not sure if it's a nephew or a cousin or what that would be, but 3 straight wins in the Hornets over the past couple weeks. So that's pretty good to see. And on the duds, I got to be honest, with the fishing trip that I had, I did not watch enough racing to really have a dud. But I will do this. I'll do this. Grassroots is a little bit of everything. I'll go Proctor Speedway for the dud because their biggest event of the year financially is the Midsummer Night of Mayhem. Their bus races, that is like their meal ticket to keeping the place open, and they canceled that race because apparently they couldn't find any help. I don't understand it. Like that should be your primary focus because that brings in the most money. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it to the Proctor Speedway. So how about we do this? Let's give a shout out here to Mac and the gang over at East Central Sports in Rush City, Minnesota, just north of the Twin Cities, right off I-35 there. Your number one source for pit bikes, kids ATVs, golf carts, Toro lawnmowers, and a whole lot more. So I know Mac is watching the Little Dream here with us tonight. He contributed to the fun just like the One to Go show did. But you know, if you're going to the USA Nationals, probably want a golf cart if you don't have one already. This is where you go, get a pit bike, whatever, get some wheels to get around some of these big shows. And when you do buy something, let them know you heard about East Central Sports on the One to Go show for $100 discount. You can reach them at 320-358-1994 or check them out online at www.eastcentralsports.com. Yes, sir.
Are you gonna have them deliver us a golf cart for the weekend? Because we're getting too old and fat to walk around.
We are, and I should reach out to them tomorrow about that. I should definitely do that. I'm looking at row 7 through 12 right now. Gullickson starts row 8 outside. Coomer's row 9 in. Trainer row 10 out. So we got a couple former winners right there. Got a couple former winners. Let's jump into a little Wissota National Champion trivia. So Bert, this past week, you gave the clues, or a couple weeks back, and threw a curveball at old Chonga. He did not expect Bert to bring a Hornet driver to the mix. I got Brittany Smith correct on that, so I have 4. Chonga's at 3. Bert's at 1. Drivers we've used so far: Brittany Smith, Chuck Swenson, Tim McMahon, Tyler Peterson, Troy Kuyath, Mitch Johnson, David Karst, who ran a B-mod this past week out in Sheridan. I saw he's back racing again. That was interesting. And old Hansy, Adam Hensel. So, Chonga, your turn to give the clues for Wissota Natty Trivia.
Okay. This driver was born in December of 1963. He is still a current driver. He's a
What division are we
multi-time
doing?
national. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Bert?
What division are we doing?
He hasn't told us yet.
I'm not telling you.
He hasn't told us yet.
I'm not telling you at all. Okay, he's a multi-time national champion. His first championship came in a Wissota Superstock. He was a World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year candidate in 2011.
Pat Door.
Oh.
You're just quicker than old Bert. Yeah.
Double One Express. The old gunslinger. Bert, do you know why he won so many races?
Because he's faster than the other cars.
Yeah, his car was faster. All right, Pat Door. Pat Door. All right. Good job there, Chonga. What other clues did you have?
Let's see.
It's kind of cheating though when you gave the Superstock one right away. That was like
his last win was July 25th, 2025 at Gondikla Speedway. And his nickname is the Double One Express.
Oh Jesus.
I knew I wouldn't get to those, but
right,
I think anyways.
All right, pulling away. All right, 2025 pick'em. So this past week we did another draft. We actually did a couple drafts as of late. The last draft. What the hell was the last draft for? Was it for the
Usage.
PDC? Yeah,
Oh
no
yeah.
PDC. Yeah, the PDC. And old worker bee Kent. Kent getting it done. His first ever win in the draft. And then we did one in Houston. I think Governor, yeah, Josh won that one. So congrats to them guys on winning the drafts and even I got my ass kicked. So we actually did at the PDC. We had 4 drivers, all 4 counted, and of course I picked Rich Bell who doesn't show up. So I got like almost last. But I still won the week. I kind of snuck one by you guys there. So I'm leading guys right now at 418. Bert's at 407. Changa, you actually jumped back up in the third. You're at 399. Coach at 392, Rainman at 389, and Dano at 383. Governor at 380, Grandpa Governor. Got a almost Grandpa. He's got one on the way there. Pretty excited for his first. So congrats, Josh, there. Uper 370, Tardy 99, 356, Worker Bee 344. Got old Dan Man Bun Dan at 334. Beefcake out of the cellar, guys. He slipped by Bromance. He's at 281. Bromance sucking it up at 274. So this week, guys, we're doing a draft for the USA Nationals. We're picking drivers from the World of Outlaw portion and the Cedar Lake late model portion. 6 drivers, top 4 count. Do you remember who you guys' first pick or first couple picks were?
I think so, possibly.
I know I had G.O.A.T and
know
Chris
Oh.
Madden.
Yeah, I took Nick Avalink in the first round and a national driver in the second round. I can't remember off the top of my head who I got.
Okay. Changa, you remember offhand?
My first pick was Brian Shirley, and I'm hoping he can do what he did for me last week.
Right.
That was good. And then my second pick was the old Hermantown Hammer, Daryl Nelson.
Yep, the 44. So you had a little strategy there, putting him on the not hot list there, Bert.
Yeah, 100%. I'm
All
instead
right.
of you trying to help me.
I see how this works. Upcoming events. So the events, we picking that, and then we're picking, of course, a little dream going on tonight. Ironman 55 Apparel World of Outlaw races at Peevely, Missouri. Knoxville 360 Nationals. Most of the high limit guys going to race in that. World of Outlaw late models we picked last night at Wilmot. Hunt the front late models Friday, Saturday. Deep fried 75 down at Duck River. USMTS has 3 shows, one at Oklahoma and one a pair of shows over at Wheatland. Then the Mark Riker Memorial Superstock Special at Big Sky out in Billings, Montana, and it's 1,000 to win for the modifieds this Thursday over at the Grand Rapids Speedway. All right, bold predictions. We make 3 laps around the track, and every week we pretty much make 3 racing related predictions. And sometimes they're pretty bold. Sometimes Changa makes the predictions, and the ones that came off the board this I guess a couple weeks ago, Bert. So you had 3. You said at Huset's, Bishop would have a better average finish at Huset's than 3 of the top 4 guys in Lucas. He did not. You said a World of Outlaw regular would win the 100 grand high limit race, and a high limit regular would win the 200 grand Kings Royal. That did not happen. And then there would be no repeat winner in USMTS. Joe Chisholm won a pair of them that week. So that was also incorrect. Changa, you had 3 come off the board. In the Mars series, you said Jason Fager would have the best average finish. I don't know if that happened or not. He has no, but I didn't confirm, so I'm assuming that he's correct on that. Do you?
I wouldn't assume.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I would assume nothing. I mean, that was so long ago, I forgot.
Yeah. Yep. NLRA races, they had a pair of them a couple weeks back. You said Dustin Strand would get a win and a top 2. Well, that's what he got, a first and a second. So you got that correct. And you said at Huset's, Bobby Pierce would have the most podiums. He tied for the most, so that was correct as well. Uper had 3 come off the board and 3 no's. World of Outlaw sprints, 50% or more would be on the podium at Eldora, would be World of Outlaw guys. That was incorrect. He said Bobby Pierce would have all top fives, 2 podiums, and at least 1 win at Huset's.
Nope.
That did not happen. And he said that Buddy Kofoid would get another, because remember, he doubled up in 6-figure win races at Huset's. Said he'd win at least 1 at Eldora. He did not. I had 3 come off the board as well. I said at the Mater, there'd be more Longhorns in the top 5 than MBs. Well, a Longhorn won, but that was the only one in the top 5. So I got that incorrect. And I said that Cade Nelson would be on the podium and Daryl Nelson would get a top 5 finish. And Cade won, half right, but I don't get half a point because Daryl did not get in the top 5. And then a while back, I said the Mater Memorial would have at least 15 more late models than they had at the Challenge Series race at Ogilvie, which had way more cars than I thought. They had 30 at Ogilvie. You know, hat tip there to Josh Zimpel getting it done. Nice win for him, winning the Challenge Series race. But they had, 58, I believe, at the Mater. So they had way more. I got that correct. So our standings right now, we keep track of correct predictions, correct percentage. Changa, looks like you're still leading the way at 17 correct. I think I'm at 14 according to this. Uper's at 12, and Bert, you're at 8. Bert, nobody can say that you haven't been bold. Nobody can say that. And then percentage, I'm leading the way at 50%, Changa at 45.9, Uper at 34.3, and Bert at 26.7.
Now,
So
did we subtract that point away from Uper for that Ty Majeski?
we did.
Okay, all right.
I made him. Yeah, I made him do that. Yeah, he got her handled. He fought me on it, but we got him. All right. So we'll make 3 laps around the track to close this thing out. They are green at Rice Lake for the street stock Little Dream. Early leader right now is Keith Tourville. It's 111, 11, and 11 in the top 3. Dykoff on the bottom, Rant on the outside. We got a good race up front. So we'll get to it. Bert, you make your first prediction. We go to Changa. I got Upers and I got my own. So Bert, what is your first prediction?
I'm gonna go USA Nationals, World of Outlaw portion, the podium in the 100 lap feature will be all non-World of Outlaw regulars.
Oh, okay.
Wow. All right. You know how to play the game. You're bold. You're bold. All right. All non-World of Outlaw regulars on the podium in the big show. All right, Changa, what do you got?
Well, I was expecting this show to happen a lot earlier tonight. My first one was at least 2 of the Little Dream podium spots will be guys that are not in the top 10 in the Street Stock Tour points.
Okay. Okay. At least 2 of the 3 are not in the top 10 in the Street Stock Tour points. Okay. All right. So Uper, his first one is going to be Street Stock Little Dream Race related. All Wisconsin podium. All Wisconsin podium. So just to clarify that right now, this is where they currently reside. Is that what that is? Not where they were born, not where they were raised, not where they went to freaking high school. The reason I asked that right now is the guy leading is Keith Tourville.
Mhm.
So he lives in Minnesota.
Lives in Minnesota now.
Yeah, he's a Minnesota driver. All right. So it's a good battle for second. All right, so that was his first one, all Wisconsin podium. I'm gonna go USA Nationals, and I'm gonna go Cedar Lake late model portion. MBs win at most 1 of the features in the Cedar Lake late model portion. At most, so 0 or 1 is what they're gonna get for wins in the Cedar Lake portion. All right, Bert, your second one.
I'm gonna stay where you're at with USA National Cedar Lake portion and say all different winners, no repeat winners in those features.
In any of them or in the Cedar Lake portion?
The Cedar Lake portion.
Okay, no repeat winners, so nobody wins more than one in the Cedar Lake late models. Okay. You get sniped there, Changa, or what?
You did get sniped, yes.
What do you got?
I'll go USMTS, all different winners.
USMTS all there. So however many races they happen, obviously has to be more than one.
One of
Yep.
Look at
Okay,
Volk coming, man. Holy smokes.
we're under caution on my side.
Yeah, you're a little ahead of me.
As always. As always. That's no surprise. That's kind of, we're used to that. All right. So Uper's second one. Uper will beat Changa in the USA Nationals draft.
That's a bold. That's not bold. You got no. That's bold.
That is yeah, that you did pretty good in the last one. No, yeah, I guess where did you finish in the last one?
Like sixth.
You did?
If you would have let me have that Changa gets a top 5, I would have freaking lost.
Right. True. I should have let you have that. All right. Yeah, so that's his. So I'm gonna go USA Nationals as well. So in the World of Outlaw portion, and Bert, it sounds like they actually are doing 3 complete shows. That sounds like they got rid of the double heat format on Friday. So to the best of my knowledge, my sources told me it's 3 complete shows this year for the USA Nationals.
What I read was Thursday was a complete show. Friday was qualifying and heat races, and then Saturday was B mains and the feature.
Okay, so I'm getting mixed reviews. I'm hoping it's 3 complete shows. I like that better.
So do I.
But yeah, somebody told me today they got rid of that, and then they're having some kind of a top 6 dash ordeal.
Well,
so
the fans fund has a dash.
That's
and
a
the
separate
winner,
deal, though.
well, and the winner of that automatic gets a provisional. And then there's a dash for the top cars, I believe, that are for the starting positions.
Okay.
The top 8 or whatever.
I guess we'll find out. So I'm gonna. So since I don't know, then I'll go back. I'm just gonna go to all the features. Okay, all the features between the World of Outlaw portion and the Cedar Lake late models. There will be, so that we're gonna assume right now that there's 5 feature races. Okay.
Yes.
I will say that 70% of all main features this weekend are Longhorns.
Oh God. Really? There's only like 2 rockets that even matter, and one of them barely matters.
There's 3 Cedar Lake late model races and about 80%. Yeah. So
fair enough.
So that might mess things up. So 77. You know what? I better read. I'm gonna change that to 60% just because of that. I'm gonna back that down a little bit. I'm gonna go 60% or more of all feature podium finishers this weekend will be Longhorns. That might be a stupid prediction. We're waiting for Bert to get back. We got some carnage there. We're under caution right now. Tourville, Dykoff, Vogel, Rant, Van Gilder, your top 5. So as we're waiting for Bert, you might be able to snipe him here, Chongo. Why don't you give us your third prediction?
I mean, he already stole my third one, so that sucks. I'm gonna go the combination of Bobby Pierce and Jonathan Davenport win every A main in the World Outlaws portion this weekend.
Pierce and Davenport were the only winners. Okay. What did you find there, Bert?
According to the Cedar Lake website, it's qualifying, heat races, dash, and fans fun dash on Friday night. No,
okay.
Not a complete show.
Not a complete show. So they must be the top 6 from the overall passing points. Are going to run a 6-car dash. Okay.
Right.
All right. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay.
Ooh. When you raise the purse by 50 grand, though, you got to have a night of gates where you're not paying out.
Right, right. I saw the replay there. I see Van Gilder facing the wrong way, but I didn't see what happened. So, Bert, what is your third and final prediction?
We missed this driver in the stud category, although he was involved in a wreck. But Zach Mitchell, who's been on fire recently, he stays hot in the Hunt the Front series, and will win at least one feature and get a top 5 in the other one. At least a
Okay.
top 5.
At least the top 5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good prediction. I suppose I got Uper's third and final prediction here too. All right. So, Uper's third and final prediction. He's going to go Iron Man. The Iron Man at I-55 for the World of Outlaw sprint cars. David Gravel will finish on the podium both nights and win at least one. And Sheldon Hodenschild will finish in the top 5 both nights and podium at least one. So a little parlay there. Okay. I am gonna go a little parlay myself. These 3 drivers will each win at least one feature this weekend. Jim Chisholm, Jesse Glenz. Jim Chisholm, Jesse Glenz, and Rico Abreu, who's running the 360s. He's got 2 chances to win. So Rico, Glenz, I don't remember who I said, and Jim Chisholm will each win at least one feature this weekend. All right, so to close this thing out, guys, we're 1 day away. Bert, when are you getting to Cedar?
On Thursday.
Thursday? Okay, so Changa and I and Teresa and then my daughter Whitney, Whitney's gonna get there Thursday, but we're gonna be down there. We got a camping spot down by the sandbox. I'm not exactly sure where. Got a banner and all that made. Shout out Winning Edge Graphics and Brad Parson for getting that done for me. But we're gonna do our best. I'm bringing my internet with me. See how that deal works. Typically, we don't have good service or data and all that at Cedar, but I'm bringing my T-Mobile internet deal with me. If that works, we're going to do some lives, maybe before the races, maybe after, a combination of everything, try to have a little fun. Going to do our best to make the rounds and kind of go see a lot of people. Guys, I've been to Cedar Lake like twice in the last decade, maybe 3 times. So looking forward to being there. So going to be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Going to be there for the whole duration. Come say hi. Looking forward to seeing everybody. I know Bert's gonna cook for everybody, so he's gonna. What are you bringing? Filet mignons, I think. No, we'll probably have a little bonfire each night after the races, and
I expect you to come meet me this year. You're gonna come find me this year.
we have the tickets that we got, because I got them from Puka, because he had a few people that couldn't go this year. So we have
so you're
3
sitting
seats.
by Puka?
Yeah, we got 3 seats in that section anyway, and that's where Bert is. So
yes.
So we'll for sure. So we're gonna be in back, right, in the Collins booth in the back. We're gonna be over in the front. We'll bounce around a little bit, but we're gonna make sure that we see everybody there the best we can. We're not gonna be overly mobile, kind of getting a little bit older, but definitely looking down forward to getting down to the Cedar Lake Speedway. Weather looks great, mid 70s. Pretty cool at night, which is good sleeping weather. So definitely excited to get down there. So
yeah, last year was miserable because it was like 95 degrees and humid, and then Thursday got rained out, so they raced during the afternoon on Friday and 95 degrees and humid, and the sun beating down on you. So I'm looking forward to the predicted weather.
Hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully Mother Nature plays nice, but yeah, definitely looking forward to getting down there. So make sure to stop and say hi if you see us, say hi, whatever, and Looking forward to seeing everybody. So as always, I'm Ryan. That's Changa. That is Bert. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.